Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our channel where we explore timeless tales that hold powerful lessons. Today, we're diving into a classic story from the ancient Panchatantra fables of India, a story you might know as The Clever Rabbit and the Lion. It's a brilliant example of how intelligence can triumph over sheer brute force. So, settle in, and let's begin. Once upon a time, deep in a lush, sprawling forest, lived a magnificent but cruel lion. He was the undisputed king, but his rule was one of terror. Every day he would hunt for sport, causing chaos and fear among the other animals. The forest dwellers lived in constant dread, never knowing when the lion's mighty roar would be the last thing they heard. Desperate to find some peace, the animals held a secret meeting. After much debate, they came up with a risky plan. They decided to approach the lion and strike a deal. They offered to send one animal to his den every single day, without fail, as his meal. In return, the lion would have to promise to stop his indiscriminate hunting. The lion, who was rather lazy and preferred his meals delivered, arrogantly agreed to their terms. For a while, the grim arrangement worked. The forest was quiet, but a heavy sadness hung in the air as, each day, another family said a final goodbye to a loved one. The lots were drawn, and one sunny morning, it was the turn of a small, seemingly insignificant rabbit. Now, this wasn't just any rabbit. He was known throughout the forest for his sharp mind and quick wit. As he slowly hopped toward his doom, a clever idea began to form in his head. He wasn't going to just surrender. He decided to use the lion's own pride against him. So, the rabbit deliberately took his time, nibbling on some clover here, admiring a butterfly there, and arrived at the lion's den very, very late. The lion, whose stomach was rumbling with hunger, was pacing back and forth, his tail lashing in fury. When he finally saw the tiny rabbit approaching, he let out a thunderous roar that shook the very ground. "You insolent creature!" he bellowed. "You are not only small, but you are late! Do you have any idea how hungry I am? For your disrespect, I will make sure your end is slow and painful." The rabbit, showing no fear, bowed low and spoke in a calm, respectful voice. "Your Majesty," he said, "I beg your forgiveness. I started my journey at dawn, as promised. In fact, I was not alone. 5 of us rabbits were sent to provide you with a worthy meal today." The lion's ears perked up. "5?" he growled. "Then where are the others?" The rabbit put on a sorrowful expression. "That, Your Majesty, is the reason for my delay. On our way here, we were ambushed by another lion. He was enormous and declared that he was the new king of this forest. He said you were an imposter. He devoured the other 4 rabbits and was about to eat me too, but I told him that I had to report to you, the one true king. He laughed and said if you were so powerful you should come and face him yourself." The rabbit's story was a masterstroke. The lion's hunger was instantly replaced by a burning rage. His pride was wounded. Another king in his forest? Unthinkable. "Another lion? In my kingdom?" he roared, his voice echoing through the trees. "Show me where this imposter is hiding. I will tear him limb from limb and prove once and for all who the real king is." This was exactly what the rabbit had hoped for. "Of course, Your Majesty. Follow me," he said, and led the fuming lion across the forest. He took him to a place he knew well, an old, deep well with still clear water at the bottom. "He lives down there in that fortress," the rabbit whispered, pointing a paw toward the well. The lion stomped to the edge and peered down into the darkness. There, staring back up at him from the water's surface, was the face of a fierce, powerful lion. It was, of course, his own reflection. Consumed by his anger, the lion didn't realize what he was seeing. He let out a mighty roar to challenge his rival. From the depths of the well, the echo of his roar boomed back, and the face in the water seemed to roar right back at him. Blinded by fury and his own massive ego, the lion didn't hesitate. With a final, earth-shattering roar, he leaped into the well to attack the other lion. All that followed was a loud splash, and then silence. The foolish lion, unable to climb the slippery stone walls, met his end in the watery depths. The clever rabbit hopped back to the other animals and announced the wonderful news. The forest erupted in celebration. They were finally free from the tyrant's rule, not because of a great battle, but because of the wit of the smallest among them. The story of the clever rabbit and the foolish lion became a legend, a reminder to all that a sharp mind is often a more powerful weapon than sharp claws. It teaches us that pride and anger can make even the strongest among us blind to the truth, and that clever thinking can solve problems that seem insurmountable. Thank you so much for joining me for this wonderful story. What did you think of the rabbit's plan? Let me know in the comments below. Bye.